absolutely should be critting for more. These two daggers don't feel bad. Meteor Shard and Chipped Bite. This dagger just kind of blows, I think.
Okay, so right now it looks like Shroud is in the flag room, guys, but he's got a priest with him, so we're gonna see what happens. Pretty sure if I can sap the priest, I don't know if anyone else is with him, I can probably take him down, but the priest bubble is gonna be a pain to get through, and Shaman is really OP in SOD.
Unless the proc of whatever they have is insane. Like, for example, Crashing Thunder. Oh. Let's go. I'm down. Better kill my totem. Oh, you ranged it. Oh, you're a gamer. You don't win, I think. I also have this priest bub, which you just can't break.
Alright, so I need to get a gouge on the priest when he comes out of sap, but that bubble is just not going anywhere. Alright, looks like we both get away, so nobody dies there, but we will find him again on the battlefield. Overall, playing a rogue has been an absolute blast. In this video, we're going to go through everything for PvE and PvP. This includes all of your bis gear, your runes, your rotation, literally everything you could possibly want to know, so you can one-shot people in PvP, well, more 2 to 3 shot people as they get more geared, and of course, top the DPS meters in the BFD raid and all of your dungeons. So let's get into this. It's a ton of fun. First off, we're going to cover the talents, and I'm using this for PvE and PvP both. In PvE, it seems to be the highest DPS output, and that's using dual daggers. And in PvP, it just makes you an absolute menace, as this build is going to have you critting. I mean, I've crit upwards of 411 on a backstab in PvP, and that's just insane. So we're doing the 0, 11, 3. Let's talk about the 11 points we have in combat. We have 3 in improved gouge, 2 in improved sinister strike, because you're not always going to be behind your target, and that really helps. We also have 3 points in the hit percentage, because having an extra 3% hit right now is absolutely insane. And of course, we have the other 3 in improved backstab, which is going to take the critical strike chance, rather, as I fumble over my words, of your backstab up to 30%. Now let's look at the subtlety. All 5 points in opportunity, as that's going to increase the damage dealt when striking from behind with your backstab by 20%. It's absolutely insane. You have so much burst damage output. It's unmatched. Alright, now let's talk about some of the gear that you're going to be looking to get, and a lot of this is going to be your pre-raid bis, right? So if you've never stepped foot in the raid, this is going to be what you're going after. So in the hand slot, of course, we have the epic crafted gloves. Now, you do need to go into the raid for this, but I only mention it because one of the prerequisites to get your gloves is to have the toughened leather gloves, which is a blue BOE crafted by leatherworking, and until you upgrade that to your epic, that's going to be your pre-bis. In the belt, we have the Deviate Scale belt, also crafted by leatherworking. We have the Leggings of the Fang, which is a 17% chance drop off of Lord Cobron in Wailing Caverns. If you're semi-geared and you're just missing your pants, you can actually stealth past everything and solo him fairly easily. Bring a health pot and make sure your evasion is up, and it'll be a walk in the park. Now, next we have the Twilight Slayer's foot pads. These are from the raid, but there are alternatives. So if you don't have these boots and you are Alliance, you're going to be looking to get the green Ambassador boots. This is from the Crime and Punishment quest chain in the Stockades. And if you are Horde, you're going to be looking to get the Stomping boots, which are arguably a little bit better. And that is from the Elixir of Pain quest line in Hillsbrad Foothills. Alright, moving on down to rings. If you're Alliance, you want to do the Stockades Quell the Riots chain for Seal of Rin. It does not take very long at all, and while you're in there, you might just find the BOE Defias Renegade ring. This is where it kind of differs, because if you're Horde and Alliance, there's some different possibilities. Of course, you're not going to be doing the Stockades quest chain. What you're going to want to do, and this can work for either faction, is get the Silverlane's Family Seal that is out of Shadowfang Keep. It is an amazing ring, and something that I have farmed for a long time and never had it drop. Now, outside of that, if you go into the Barrens, outside of Razorfen Crawl, there is an escort quest. You may say RFK is a little bit too high for level 25, but as long as you have a group, you can do the quest and get the Monkey Ring, which gives a flat 6 agility. So the Silverlane's family seal and the Monkey Ring, or the Seal of Rin and the Silverlane family seal, depending on your faction, is going to be your BIS for your ring slot. When it comes down to trinkets, these are both Warsong Gulch or Ashenvale PvP reputation guarded, or well, I suppose the insignia of the Alliance or the insignia of the Horde is based on honor. As long as you get more than 1,000 honor, you can check this in your honor tab under your character. As long as you get more than 1,000, you can see I'm at 6,500 for the week, you will get the corporal rank for Alliance, or I believe the grunt rank for Horde, and that will allow you to purchase your insignia, which is just a stun break. Next, you do have the Ashenvale Warsong Gulch rep, which you need friendly for. For the Alliance, it's the Silverwing Sentinels that you'll need to get friendly for, and you can buy that for 2 gold and 50 silver. Next up, let's go to your weapons. Now, the ranged weapon is actually a high utility for rogues in Season of Discovery with all of the runes that go with it. So we're running the Venom Strike. This is another Wailing Caverns from Lord Serpentis. It's only a 16% drop, but if it procs, you can get up to, I mean, I've gotten 180, 190 crits on my slow bow or on my stun. So between the eyes rune, so on and so forth, and quick draw. So that's coming out of Wailing Caverns. Next we have the Meteor Shard. This is from SFK, the final boss. Only a 17% drop, but honestly, I've seen it drop probably 3 out of the 10 runs I've done, so it's closer to a 30% for me at least. Now, I do have the Raid Dagger, but we're going to be talking about alternatives for both factions. When it comes to Alliance, you're going to want to run the Stockade and try and get the Prison Shank. That Prison Shank is absolutely amazing, giving 5 agi and 2 stamina. If you're Horde, you have the quest, which will give you, I believe it's called the Winged Barb or the Winged Saber, that sword that can sit in your offhand, because we are going to need a dagger in the main hand. If not, you can farm out the Cruel Barb, which is actually way better than it should be for a level 19 sword coming out of Deadmines, but both factions can do this. The main is make sure you get that Meteor Shard, and once you get into the raid, the Chipped Bite of Sarkis is going to be where it's at. Next up, we have the Dervish Bracers of Stamina. Now, this is just a World Green BOE drop. I have this because with the enchantment, I'm getting 8 stam, which is huge right now. Until the raid, there's not a lot of good options for the Bracer, and because I'm PvP oriented, I went with the Bracers of Stamina. You can go with the Bracers of Agility, which will be much higher output in PvE scenarios, but I like the survivability. We can skip the tabard, we can skip the shirt. Here we have the reward from the Defias chain. This is basically in Westfall. You go through the Defias Brotherhood chain, you get that, you're good to go. Next we have a drop from Deadmines. This is the cape that's dropped off Van Cleef, 23% drop chance. I've never seen the Cruel Barb drop, but you better believe I've seen a ton of these. So getting this with the 1 agi enchant is amazing. Next we have the Bristlebark Amis. Now there was none of these on the AH, so I had to go and farm these. You can go and farm those from Stone Talon Mountains. You're going to want to either kill the Daughters of Cenarius or the Twilight Runners inside Stone Talon Mountains. Now it was a bit of a grind, but for this it's 3 strength and 6 agi, which is absolutely amazing. We're not going to talk about the neck. I don't have the neck. I don't have Honored Reputation yet, and until I get the Sergeant rank, which is coming on Reset Tuesday, I'm not going to have a neck, so we're not going to talk about that. The raid gives a 6 strength, 6 agi, I believe, necklace, so we're going to be trying to buy our way into that. We don't run GDKPs, but we can bribe people. Alright, onto the headpiece. Once you get friendly reputation with Ashenvale or the Warsong Gulch people, much like your Rune of Duty trinket, you can go buy this resilient leather mask. Now it only gives 80 armor, but here's the catch. When you're in Warsong Gulch, it reduces all damage you take and your chance to be critically hit by 5%. That 5% damage mitigation and crit chance reduction is huge. And until we get the Dust to Dusk mask off of Kelris in BFD, this is where we're sitting. And even so, once we get that raid drop, whenever we're PvPing in Warsong Gulch, because all we do is farm pre-mades, we're going to be wearing this hat. Alright, let's talk about runes. Let's talk about the only rune that really matters, and that is Slaughter from the Shadows. This is the best rogue rune that is out right now, and it simply is a passive. Reduces the energy cost of your backstab and ambush by 20. Does not apply to mutilate. That does not matter, because our backstab is only going to cost 40 energy now, and that goes on your chest. The other two, legs and hands, honestly, up for your interpretation. If you're a horde and you're using the winged sword or the cruel barb or the alliance that is using a sword, you're probably going to want to go with saber slash. Personally, I'm going with shadow strike for the mobility, and the legs really don't matter. I'm going between the eyes for PvP and envenom for PvE, but we're never really hitting envenom because all we're doing is backstabbing, slice and dice, and then rupturing if we have time. On that note, though, let's actually go into your rotation. Now, unfortunately, in Classic Season of Discovery, there's no training dummies, so I can't actually illustrate this, but I feel like I can give you a really good idea of what you're supposed to be doing. Now, in the beginning of any fight, I am in stealth, and in the case of Kelris, if I get too close, it's going to pop me out of stealth, so this is really dependent on if you can land it or if you can't. If you can land your ambush, that is the prime opener. It is always the prime opener in PvP or PvE. If you cannot get your ambush, you're going to want to Shadow Strike. This is going to teleport you directly behind your target and do a little miniature version of the ambush. You're not going to be getting 400-500 damage crits like you would with ambush, but you'll get a solid 150-200 on a crit, plus you'll be directly behind your target, which allows us to start our rotation. Now, we want to make sure we're behind our target. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but it needs to be cemented. Backstab is everything for us. We're going to want to do 2 or 3 backstabs to build combo points, and this is dependent on how long the fight is. If you're fighting trash, you're going to want to pop 2 backstabs and then your slice and dice. If you're fighting a boss and mobility and everything is allowing it, you're going to want to get full combo points with backstab, at least 3. Okay, you may find that you run out of energy and you're starting to miss, dodge, parry. You want to make sure you get at least 3 combo points with backstab and then pop your slice and dice. Now listen up, because this is extremely important. Your slice and dice uptime is all of your DPS. You want to make sure that you have over 90% slice and dice uptime at all times. Okay, but what do you do between then? Let's say your slice and dice is up, you have enough energy, and you're starting to build combo points. Well, if your slice and dice is not at a threat of running out while you're regaining your combo points, you can throw on a rupture. If all of those conditions are met, you have slice and dice up, rupture is on, then we just eviscerate. So we are stealthing. We're either opening with Shadow Strike or Ambush, and this is the same in PvP as PvE, except for Slice and Dice. So PvE, we're Shadow Strike, Ambush open, backstabbing up to at least 3 combo points, popping Slice and Dice, and then filling with Rupture and Eviscerate if the others are up. Now this changes a little bit in PvP, as we're still going to open with either Shadow Strike or Ambush. Of course, if there's 2 targets, we're sapping one and then opening on the other. But Shadow Strike, Ambush, and then once we open, we're going to try and build 3 combo points with Backstab. And then it depends on what we need. If we need to close a gap, a mage, a warlock, a shaman, a druid, anyone that's running from us, we want to use our combo points in between the eyes, as this is going to allow us to close that gap, land a gouge, and get behind them for more backstabs. The whole name of the game is control and stay behind your target in PvP. Once we build up our 3 combo points with our backstab, we can between the eyes to close a gap. If we do not need to close a gap, it becomes situational. If our target is above 50% health, I'm most likely going to pop a Rupture, which is going to put that bleed on them. If they are below 50, I'm going to be popping an Eviscerate, as it absolutely wrecks. So if you get someone below 50%, you have 3 or more combo points, that Eviscerate may very well completely finish them off, and it's absolutely amazing. So that's your PvE versus PvP. Alright, so we've covered the gear, we've covered the runes, we've covered the talents, and the rotation. If you have any other questions about Rogue this season, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always on here trying to reply to comments. I've been having so much fun playing Rogue. If you want to PvP with me and you're on the Crusader Strike server, my name is Percents the Rogue, and yeah, I would love to play some games with you. I may be live on Twitch right now. That link's down in the description. Hey, shameless plug. But if you enjoyed this video and you like guides like this that are just straightforward, no BS, make sure to hit the subscribe button.